Do you remember those Christmas mornings when the world outside was still dark and silent, and your mother quietly slipped into the kitchen before dawn? The house smelled faintly of coal smoke and cold, the air buzzing with anticipation, and yet the pantry was nearly empty. There were no glimmering grocery aisles stocked with fresh fruits, no shelves piled high with fancy chocolates, no refrigerators brimming with milk, cream, or butter. There was only what she had: flour, sugar, dried beans, a few forgotten vegetables, and an unshakable determination to create something magical. Despite the scarcity, despite the looming shadow of the Great Depression, mothers across America found ways to turn the simplest, humblest ingredients into a feast that felt abundant. They were alchemists in aprons, transforming water, potatoes, and stale bread into pies, candies, and puddings that delighted children's eyes and bellies alike. Every dish had a story. Every flavor carried ingenuity, patience, and love. This was a Christmas defined not by money, but by creativity. A season where resourcefulness became tradition, where necessity sparked invention, and where joy was measured not in calories or costly ingredients, but in warmth, togetherness, and the miracle of turning almost nothing into something unforgettable. 50 dishes appeared on Depression-era Christmas tables, each a testament to human ingenuity and devotion. From water pie to fried mush, from carrot marmalade to chicken feet soup, each recipe told a story of survival, celebration, and the magic of a mother's hands. In this exploration, we look back at those 50 extraordinary foods, preserving the memory of how families celebrated Christmas when abundance was rare but hope and love were plentiful. Water pie stands as a remarkable testament to ingenuity in the kitchen. Made from just water, sugar, butter, and flour without eggs, milk, or fruit, it transformed humble ingredients into a surprisingly comforting dessert. Mothers would pour water into an unbaked pie crust, add sugar and butter, then sprinkle a little flour on top before baking slowly. Through careful timing, the mixture turned into a custard-like filling, seemingly defying logic. Simple yet sweet, water pie became a symbol of hope and resourcefulness, proving that even in times of scarcity, families could create a touch of Christmas magic with almost nothing. Potato candy is a remarkable example of turning simple ingredients into festive treats. Cold mashed potatoes were mixed with enough powdered sugar to form a stiff dough, then rolled thin, spread with peanut butter, and carefully sliced into pinwheel-shaped candies. The potato disappeared entirely into the sugar, leaving behind a sweet, rich confection that felt indulgent despite its humble origins. Children were often amazed that something as ordinary as a potato could become a special treat, and the process of making it provided an engaging activity for families, turning scarcity into both sweetness and joyful participation during the holidays. Milk toast made its quiet entrance on Christmas mornings when eggs, bacon, and other luxuries were scarce. Slices of bread were toasted until golden and crisp, then soaked in warm, sweetened milk and dotted with butter, creating a soft, comforting dish. The simple combination transformed plain bread into a soothing breakfast that felt special. Families would gather around the table, eager to eat before the toast became too soggy, turning the humble meal into a shared moment of warmth and connection. Even in its simplicity, milk toast carried the quiet joy and togetherness of the holiday season. Prune whip turned humble dried prunes into a delicate holiday dessert. The prunes were first cooked until soft, then mashed into a smooth paste. Separately, egg whites were beaten until stiff and airy, and then gently folded together with the prunes, creating a light, pale purple fluff. The result was an elegant, cloud-like treat that seemed far more luxurious than its simple components suggested. Served immediately, prune whip captured the magic of transformation in the kitchen, showing that even the simplest, most modest ingredients could become a festive centerpiece, bringing joy and surprise to the Christmas table. Fried mush gave leftover cornmeal mush a delicious second chance. The cold, firm mush was sliced and fried in butter until each piece turned golden and crisp on the outside while remaining soft within. Drizzled with syrup or molasses, it became a simple yet indulgent treat that delighted children and adults alike. This humble dish showcased the ingenuity of resourceful cooks, turning yesterday's breakfast into a fresh and satisfying meal. The contrast of crunchy edges with a tender interior, combined with sweet toppings, made fried mush a comforting, thrifty, and surprisingly festive addition to the holiday table. Mock chicken turned humble pork shoulder into a holiday centerpiece. The meat was carefully coated in seasoned flour and either baked or fried, creating a golden, flavorful exterior that hinted at roasted chicken. Children marveled at the illusion, convinced they were enjoying real poultry, while adults admired the creativity and effort behind the transformation. This dish was a testament to resourcefulness during times of scarcity, proving that imagination in the kitchen could turn simple ingredients into something festive. Despite modest means, mock chicken brought both surprise and delight to the Christmas table, making the holiday feel complete. Carrot marmalade turned simple garden carrots into a shimmering, sweet delight. Grated carrots were slowly cooked with sugar, a squeeze of lemon juice, and occasionally a hint of orange extract, until they became a golden, jam-like spread. Served atop warm toast or crisp biscuits, it delighted both children and adults alike. Its bright color and glossy texture made it look almost like an exotic preserve, teaching young ones that even the humblest vegetables could transform into something special. Carrot marmalade celebrated creativity and resourcefulness, turning ordinary ingredients into a treat that brought unexpected joy to the Christmas morning table. Bread pudding transformed humble, stale bread into a comforting and elegant dessert. The bread was soaked in a rich custard, then baked until golden and tender, creating a warm, soft interior. Often, it was finished with a simple hard sauce made from butter and powdered sugar, adding a sweet, glossy touch. What might have been considered scraps became a centerpiece on the Christmas table, demonstrating that true luxury didn't require costly ingredients. Instead, careful technique and a bit of patience could elevate leftovers into something celebratory, turning a modest staple into a dish of warmth, sweetness, and charm. Chicken feet soup turned humble, often overlooked ingredients into a nourishing family staple. The feet were simmered slowly, releasing gelatin and flavor that formed a rich, silky broth. Vegetables were added to enhance both nutrition and taste, creating a hearty, warming soup that comforted on cold mornings or evenings. This economical dish showcased ingenuity in the kitchen, proving that even discarded parts could provide sustenance and delight. Families gathered around bowls of the fragrant broth, appreciating not just the flavor but the care and resourcefulness behind turning simple, inexpensive ingredients into a wholesome, celebratory meal. Eggless sugar cookies showed that tradition could endure even in times of scarcity. Simple ingredients butter, sugar, milk, and flour combined to form a dough that, once baked, produced cookies slightly crisp at the edges and tender within. Without eggs, the texture was delicate but still satisfying, and the sweet aroma filled the kitchen, signaling the holiday spirit. Families carefully shaped and baked each cookie, preserving the joy of festive baking. These humble treats proved that even when prized ingredients were unavailable, creativity and love could keep cherished customs alive, making every bite a reminder of warmth and togetherness. Milk gravy transformed the simplest ingredients into comfort on a plate. Made from just flour, bacon, grease, and milk, the mixture was slowly cooked until thick and creamy, then generously poured over warm biscuits or fluffy mashed potatoes. Its rich, velvety texture turned humble staples into hearty meals, stretching limited provisions to satisfy hungry families. On cold mornings, the aroma of sizzling bacon and sweetened milk signaled warmth and nourishment, a reminder that even in scarcity, ingenuity could create pleasure. Milk gravy was more than a sauce, it was a symbol of resourcefulness and homey delight, bridging everyday meals with festive care. Salmon croquettes turned humble pantry staples into golden delights. Canned salmon, combined with mashed potatoes and breadcrumbs, stretched into enough patties to feed an entire family. Shaped by hand and fried until crisp on the outside yet tender within, each bite delivered a satisfying, protein-rich meal. Their savory aroma filled the kitchen, promising comfort and nourishment even when fresh fish was out of reach. As families gathered around the table, these croquettes demonstrated how creativity could transform modest ingredients into memorable dishes, proving that ingenuity in the kitchen could turn scarcity into celebration. Dandelion greens showed that nourishment often hides in plain sight. Foraged from fields and yards, these humble weeds became tender, flavorful greens when cooked slowly with salt pork or bacon grease, which tempered their natural bitterness. What might have seemed like a mere nuisance outside transformed into a nutrient-rich side dish on the family table. Their deep, earthy flavor paired perfectly with other simple dishes, turning a modest meal into something memorable. In households that knew how to see opportunity in scarcity, dandelion greens proved that ingenuity and resourcefulness could turn even the wildest weeds into a source of sustenance and delight. Fried apples turned humble fruit into a celebration of flavor. Thinly sliced and gently fried with butter and a sprinkle of sugar, the apples softened and caramelized, releasing a warm, fragrant sweetness that filled the kitchen. Each bite offered a tender, melt-in-your-mouth indulgence, perfect alongside morning toast or pancakes. Even in homes where luxury was scarce, this simple preparation added a festive touch to the breakfast table, reminding families that joy often came in small, flavorful moments. From the sizzle in the pan to the golden slices on the plate, fried apples made mornings a little brighter and hearts a little warmer. Crackling bread transformed simple cornbread into a hearty, flavorful delight. Mixed with crispy pork cracklings, the batter baked into a golden loaf full of savory crunch and rich aroma. Each slice offered a satisfying texture, where tender cornbread met bursts of salty, savory cracklings. This dish reflected both thrift and creativity, showing how every part of the animal could be celebrated at the table. In homes where resources were limited, crackling bread turned modest ingredients into a filling, comforting treat. As the aroma wafted through the kitchen, families knew that even the humblest meal could carry warmth, flavor, and a sense of togetherness. Peanut butter soup may sound unusual to modern palates, yet it was a clever way to stretch limited protein. Thinned with milk or broth, the rich, creamy soup became filling and nourishing, providing warmth and sustenance on cold mornings. Its simplicity belied its ingenuity, showing that even a jar of peanut butter could transform into a comforting meal. From this inventive soup, families could move on to sweeter preparations, celebrating the season's bounty in creative ways. Apple butter carried the sweet essence of autumn into winter kitchens. Apples slowly cooked down with sugar and spices until thick and glossy, then stored to be spread on biscuits or toast. The concentrated flavors and deep color turned a simple breakfast into a moment of indulgence. As apple butter simmered on the stove, its scent became a signal that even ordinary ingredients could create lasting memories. Baked beans with molasses offered another lesson in patience and resourcefulness. Navy beans, slow-cooked with molasses and salt pork, absorbed sweetness and savoriness over hours of gentle heat. The result was a hearty, rich dish that could feed a family without extravagant expense. From sweet spreads to savory beans, holiday tables embraced creativity and practicality alike. Vinegar taffy provided a playful contrast. Sugar and vinegar cooked to the hard crack stage were pulled into glossy ropes, a simple treat that became both a snack and a family activity. Sticky fingers and laughter accompanied this sweet indulgence, bridging work and play in the kitchen. Finally, liver and onions brought depth and protein to the table. Beef liver, dredged in seasoned flour and fried with onions, required careful timing and seasoning to transform potentially bitter cuts into palatable, satisfying main courses. Together, these dishes illustrated how ingenuity, patience, and a touch of creativity could turn humble ingredients into meals both memorable and nourishing. When fresh oysters were too expensive for holiday tables, resourceful cooks turned to mock oyster stew made from salsify roots. Simmered gently in milk with butter, the roots absorbed creamy flavors, creating a convincing illusion of oyster stew. This clever substitution showed that technique could triumph over scarcity, transforming humble ingredients into comforting, festive dishes. From one inventive creation, families could move seamlessly to other ways of turning overlooked parts of the harvest into nourishment. Beet greens, often discarded as garden scraps, found new life in the kitchen. Wilted in bacon grease or butter until tender, these leafy vegetables added both nutrition and vibrant color to the table. Their preparation highlighted a simple principle: nothing was wasted, and even the humblest plant could contribute to a meal's appeal. Cornmeal mush was another staple that anchored the breakfast table. Cooked into a thick, creamy porridge and served hot with butter and molasses, it offered warmth, filling satisfaction, and economy in every bite. Its simplicity allowed families to focus on togetherness while enjoying hearty sustenance. Leftover ingredients became new creations, as seen with cabbage rolls. Tender cabbage leaves wrapped around a mixture of rice and meat were baked in tomato sauce, stretching small amounts of protein into generous, comforting meals. Patience and care elevated this dish from frugality to tradition, a quiet celebration of culinary ingenuity. Finally, fried cornmeal mush transformed yesterday's breakfast into today's treat. Slices of chilled mush, fried until golden and crisp, could be served sweet or savory, proving that a single ingredient, treated differently, could delight the family twice. Together, these dishes captured a rhythm of creativity, thrift, and warmth that defined holiday kitchens of the past. Oxtail, often overlooked as a tough and inexpensive cut, became a source of deep, comforting flavor when simmered slowly with vegetables. Hours of gentle cooking released gelatin and richness, producing a broth so satisfying that it seemed far more luxurious than its humble beginnings. From this patient preparation, families learned that time could transform even the cheapest ingredients into the centerpiece of a nourishing meal. Leftover rice, another staple, found new life in rice pudding. Baked with milk, eggs, and a touch of sugar, the grain softened into creamy sweetness, proving that frugality could still deliver comfort and indulgence. Rice pudding offered both warmth and flexibility, allowing households to make the most of their staples while maintaining the spirit of holiday celebration. Similarly, navy bean soup exemplified the marriage of thrift and sustenance. Dried beans simmered with ham or salt pork created a hearty, protein-rich dish capable of feeding an entire family. Thick, creamy, and filling, this soup could serve as a main course, reminding cooks that inexpensive ingredients could nourish body and soul alike. Fried potatoes offered a simpler yet no less satisfying preparation. Thin slices cooked in hot bacon grease until golden and crisp became a side dish treasured for its texture and flavor. The humble potato, transformed by fat and heat, demonstrated that even the simplest elements could delight the table. Finally, molasses cookies replaced costly sugar with the rich, dark sweetness of molasses. Spiced and long-lasting, they became staple treats during the holidays, showing that economy and flavor need not be mutually exclusive. Together, these dishes celebrated ingenuity, patience, and the joy of turning modest ingredients into memorable meals. Boiled dinner was the epitome of practicality and comfort. Corned beef or salt pork, simmered together with potatoes, cabbage, carrots, and onions in a single pot, created a complete, hearty meal. The method conserved both fuel and effort, transforming humble ingredients into a dish that could feed an entire family with minimal fuss. Its warmth and simplicity made it a cornerstone of winter dining, reminding households that nourishment could be both economical and satisfying. From hearty one-pot meals to inventive sides, cornbread stuffing offered another example of resourcefulness. Day-old cornbread crumbled and mixed with sautéed onions, celery, and broth, then baked to golden perfection, became a fragrant, flavorful accompaniment to any main dish. Distinctly Southern and budget-friendly, this stuffing elevated leftover bread into a festive highlight of the table. Pickled beets added a burst of color and tang to winter meals. Canned and preserved during the fall harvest, these vibrant vegetables provided contrast to richer dishes, their sweet-sour flavor awakening the palate while stretching the family's produce supply. Alongside them, sauerkraut offered both sustenance and nutrition. Fermented cabbage, tangy and complex, provided essential vitamin C during the cold months, preserving health without refrigeration, a testament to ingenuity and foresight in traditional kitchens. For dessert, apple crisp delivered sweet satisfaction without the expense of pie crusts. Tender baked apples, topped with an oat-based crumble, created texture and flavor, turning modest ingredients into a comforting treat. The dish celebrated the idea that even simple elements, when combined thoughtfully, could produce joy and festivity at the table. Gingerbread was a holiday classic that filled kitchens with aroma and cheer. This molasses-based spiced cake, baked to last for days, was economical yet indulgent, spreading warmth and festive spice across the table. Its longevity and fragrant spices made it a beloved treat, perfect for savoring slowly through the season. From sweet indulgences to comforting staples, potato soup exemplified practical creativity. Potatoes cooked in milk and butter became a creamy, filling soup, stretching limited ingredients into satisfying bowls for the whole family. Warm and hearty, it offered both comfort and sustenance during cold winter days, demonstrating that even the simplest vegetables could nourish deeply. Coleslaw provided a crisp, refreshing counterpoint to heavier dishes. Shredded cabbage tossed with vinegar and sugar, sometimes enriched with a touch of mayonnaise, offered both color and crunch. Attention to timing was crucial, ensuring the cabbage remained crisp and lively, transforming humble produce into a textural delight alongside richer fare. Baking powder biscuits brought tender, flaky bread to the table in mere minutes. This quick bread, served with butter or draped in gravy, became a practical staple for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Its simplicity highlighted the ingenuity of households that relied on speed and ease without sacrificing flavor or comfort. Finally, Brown Betty transformed leftover bread into a celebratory dessert. Layers of apples and buttered breadcrumbs baked together, creating a sweet, textured dish that turned stale staples into something special. Like many of these recipes, Brown Betty exemplified how resourcefulness, care, and creativity could elevate the ordinary into something festive and memorable. Pork and beans stood as a symbol of hearty simplicity. Navy beans baked with salt pork, molasses, and a hint of mustard created a warm, protein-rich dish that sustained families through lean times. Economical yet filling, it became a Depression-era Christmas staple, proving that comfort and nutrition could coexist even when resources were scarce. From the pot to the oven, bread stuffing with bacon drippings transformed stale bread into a golden, aromatic delight. Mixed with sautéed vegetables and enriched by the flavorful drippings, this dish elevated humble ingredients into a celebratory side. The crisp edges and savory aroma made it a favorite on holiday tables, bridging practicality with indulgence. Chicken and dumplings showcased how minimal meat could be stretched into a meal that felt abundant. Broth simmered from old hens became the base for soft, doughy dumplings, resulting in a comforting one-pot dish. Each spoonful offered warmth and fullness, reminding families that care and technique could turn scarcity into satisfaction. Sweet potato casserole added color, sweetness, and richness to the table. Mashed sweet potatoes baked with butter and sugar, sometimes crowned with nuts, provided both comfort and versatility. Served as a side or even a centerpiece, it exemplified how natural sweetness and simple additions could transform a humble vegetable into something festive. Cornmeal pancakes rounded out the morning meal with hearty simplicity. Cornmeal blended with small amounts of wheat flour and milk formed thick, satisfying pancakes cooked on a hot griddle greased with bacon fat. Golden, crisp at the edges and filling, they were a testament to how basic pantry staples could provide warmth, energy, and comfort to start the day. Rice and gravy was a testament to ingenuity in the kitchen. Simple cooked rice became a satisfying base when topped with meat-flavored gravy made from drippings, flour, and water. Scarce meat was stretched to feed more mouths, and the resulting dish offered warmth, fullness, and comfort, turning minimal ingredients into a meal that felt substantial and homey. Fried cabbage followed naturally, adding color and texture to the plate. Shredded cabbage sautéed in bacon grease until tender and slightly caramelized created a cheap yet flavorful side. Its subtle sweetness and savory depth balanced heavier dishes, proving that even inexpensive vegetables could shine with the right preparation. Bread and butter pickles brought a crisp, tangy contrast to these hearty meals. Cucumbers preserved in a sweet-sour brine added brightness and longevity to the winter pantry. Their crunch and sharp flavor provided a refreshing counterpoint, demonstrating how simple preservation techniques elevated everyday vegetables into delights. Mashed potatoes remained a universal favorite. Creamy and smooth, made from boiled potatoes, milk, and butter, they were filling and comforting. Their soft texture and subtle richness offered a sense of indulgence even when resources were limited, uniting family members over the familiar joy of a beloved staple. Finally, water gravy illustrated the pinnacle of culinary resourcefulness. Made from nothing more than water, fat, and flour when milk was unaffordable, it transformed otherwise dry foods into moist, flavorful bites. Though humble, it exemplified the creativity and resilience of cooks determined to make every meal satisfying, turning scarcity into opportunity. 50 dishes, each born from necessity, stand as a testament to the resourcefulness and creativity of those who faced scarcity with determination. What might seem like humble or even meager ingredients became symbols of celebration, transforming the ordinary into something extraordinary. Mothers of the Depression era were more than cooks, they were inventors, chemists, and storytellers, crafting memories and moments of joy from what little they had. Each water pie, potato candy, and milk toast carried with it not just flavor, but also care, patience, and a sense of ritual that turned a simple meal into a family gathering filled with warmth and love. These dishes remind us that celebration is not measured by abundance, but by the thought, effort, and imagination put into each act. Leftover bread became custard pudding, dried prunes became elegant whip, and even chicken feet or salsify roots were transformed into nourishing, flavorful meals. Scarcity sparked ingenuity. Limitations became opportunities to innovate. In every baked bean, mashed potato, and fried cabbage slice, there lies a lesson in resilience and creativity. Moreover, these meals were vessels of connection, teaching children and family members the value of resourcefulness and the joy of shared experiences. They offered not just sustenance, but stories, traditions, and the understanding that love could be expressed through patience, care, and the simple act of preparing a meal. Depression-era mothers demonstrated that even in hardship, festivity could thrive, and memories could be built that would last a lifetime. In revisiting these 50 dishes, we are reminded that true celebration is an art of the heart, where imagination, dedication, and love can turn the simplest ingredients into enduring moments of joy.